I think I have everything right. I hope. Guess we'll have to find out. We're live. 3, 2. We're already live. All right, can someone check volume?
We're live in 3, 2, already live.
Check volume.
We're live in 3, 2, already live.
I feel like my volume's a little low. Do you have Vast Minority set up or no?
I'm working on it right now.
You don't have to. I can if you want.
Yeah, go ahead then.
That was easy.
That was easy. Gotta fix my
That
thing.
was easy.
Not in the view anymore.
That was easy.
That was easy. Gotta fix my
That
thing.
was easy. Oh, I have my.
View anymore.
That was easy. My headset.
That was easy. Gotta fix my thing.
How's the volume sound for you guys? Oh God, you're blurry.
I had to wait
Sounds
for
good.
the advertisement to stop.
Oh God damn it. These fucking advertisements.
It's good.
It's good?
Sodite.
Is that right?
Echo.
Echo.
Alright, so this week, the idea is, yeah, we'll do the same thing we did last week. I think it worked pretty good. Say my name, you guys say your name. I guess we'll just keep the rotation. So it's just me, Becker, then Will.
Mm.
Alright.
Cue the intro.
You done? I'm gonna make sure this is all in it too.
But if we go this way, do I hit you? Yeah, this
Yeah,
way.
this way. Yeah, you have to do that because I'm like this. Anyway, welcome to this week's Steam podcast, where we vent our frustration into the void for all to ignore it. I'm Buddy,
I'm Becker.
I'm Will.
and this week the main topic is going to be toxicity in games in the gaming community. I'm going to talk about meta in games, trading card games, PvP games essentially, where you have this meta that everyone follows to a T as if it was like the Bible. And to me, that's just it gets rid of innovation. So that's what I'm going to talk about this week. Becker,
I'm going to talk about V&V and how it's trying too hard.
And I'm going to talk about Valve beginning to ship games again.
yes, they are making games again. This will be interesting, actually. So let's get into the intro and then right into my topic. So hold on. All right. So, like I said before, my topic's going to be meta in games. So, for example, when I was playing Hearthstone, one of the biggest metas at the time was you had to have Lotheb and Dr. Boom in your deck. Otherwise, why are you even trying? Which means that you had to spend money on the adventure to get Lotheb because, oh, there's an echo? Is there an echo?
No.
Oh,
That was when we were testing.
Gotcha. So yeah, that echoes from me testing. Anyway, so you had to spend money on the adventures, and you would beat the adventures to get Lotheb, and then Lotheb was such a staple for pretty much every deck that it became like a pay-to-win kind of thing. And Dr. Boom was you had to buy packs in order to get Dr. Boom from the Goblins versus Gnomes packs. And it just essentially became like this pay to win kind of scenario, which is just absolutely garbage. And that's kind of how I feel meta is, especially in card games. Magic the Gathering, I've been playing since I was 15. I'm 31 right now. So I feel like it's just one of those things where you have to buy specific cards that will give you a better edge against another player, but you're essentially paying to win. There's no innovation to that. And that, to me, I feel like it kills the game. And then you start getting into like, games like Heroes of the Storm and MOBAs and stuff like that, where it's like you have to play these characters. You have to play 2 tanks, and you have to play dive comp. You have to play, this healer like Genji. You have to play Genji. If you don't play Genji, why are you even playing the game? So I feel like it doesn't help with the game's survival. Like I feel like it removes a lot of innovation, and by removing a lot of innovation it makes people feel like, well, I have to get this hero, and then I'm pretty much stuck on this linear path of playing this. That's it. This is what I'm doing. This is my job now. It's just playing this character. So I just find it frustrating and annoying.
I don't think it's the. I think the meta is created by bad design choices. So like for Heroes of the Storm, Genji is not an original hero. Of
No.
the original heroes that came out, how many of them are still viable in the meta?
ETC is still pretty good. Diablo is still pretty good. I mean, I
No,
I wouldn't so
on the level that Genji is, that if you don't have him in a game, it's stupid.
well now it's Maev, but yeah. So the
All right,
idea,
so Maev,
yeah.
is there a character from the original,
No, I
No.
wouldn't say there's a character from the original that. I mean, I have to.
second gen? No.
So yeah, the idea is that it's all balancing. This fucking thing is
So-
all fucked up because of the fan.
So once again, you have where you've created the meta is created by the trying to keep the game relevant. So you keep adding in characters that you didn't test, which I think all of us here could agree that Blizzard does not test their characters well before they implement them.
as intended.
Because you have like 2 weeks where they're fucking disgusting when they first came out, and then just down the drain.
I mean, there is. This fan's just blowing my green.
Oh
screen.
my god.
Just
So
blowing
I
all
think
over
I
us.
think my point is, in some of the things where you've identified meta, it's created through trying to keep the game relevant.
Yes.
So that's Magic. Magic is because they're trying to keep this game that you've been playing for X amount of years relevant.
Yeah,
Same.
I guess so. But the problem though is that I feel like if so, it's like all right. So we'll go back to Heroes of the Storm. It's like I like playing Abathur. Abathur is actually I wouldn't say he's a meta pick. I would say Heroes of the Storm is kind of a bad thing because Heroes of the Storm it isn't about a specific character that you're or a specific hero. It's about the comp. So the comp is what the meta is. So the meta now is all about dive. So dive comp is kind of like what everyone's doing. So you have Maev, you have Genji, you have those two specific heroes that are just really strong because they can get into the line. They can literally get into a team fight and pretty much just wipe everyone with their skill sets. Now, yes, it is poor design choice because it's like, hey, let's put this really overpowered, very evasive, high mobility character into the game and see how mages do against it. They're not going to do very good against it because mages don't have escape and they have low mobility, so they're just going to get wrecked. And then, you have a situation where it's like, well, now we can't play these characters, even though they're fun to play, and they have a skill set that could potentially turn everything around late game. But I mean, if you don't have a Maev, if you don't have a Genji, if you don't have, a Rhaegar or something like that on your team, it's like, Zul'jin. Zul'jin, when he came out, I think he was all right. I think he was a little overpowered, but Maev right now is just absolutely just stacked. Like Maev is probably the most overpowered character to ever come out in the game. But I digress.
I don't think there's a single character that's come out of that game when they first came out they weren't overpowered. A single one.
Yeah, I would say when
You muted, Will.
I think Blaze is pretty balanced. He's
yeah,
not
I think Blaze is balanced too, actually.
overpowered or anything like that. He serves his purpose. I
Right.
think the main problem they have is a lot of the kits they give characters that come out are all over the place. They don't actually serve the role that they're meant to play. So
Yeah, they
they
end up
get
being
characters
used.
like Varian, that's a hybrid bruiser tank, but it's like two separate builds. Why not just make him a tank if he's going to have taunt or something?
Kalthus was broken, yeah. But
Just do that. Just make a character specific for the role you want them to be. Stop doing hybrids. Stop giving characters from games where mobility is key and throwing them into this game where you have a ton of characters with little to none. There's no way for certain characters to get away, like Zul'jin and stuff like that. And the Butcher, if he goes in,
he's
he
fucked.
can't get
That's
out.
it.
But I mean, that's his skill set. So that's the thing is that like, yeah, he's a dive. He's a dive comp too.
So would you say that the meta is due to the professional players? So
Yeah.
the professional, so like
They
for someone like
definitely
Hans,
mold it. They definitely
they
mold it.
create it.
Yeah, they absolutely. They go. They're the ones that play, the game and make money off of it. So they essentially play these tournaments that people watch and want to emulate and want to become. So because of that, they follow them. And it's not their fault. They're just taking a tool and using the tool the way they think it's best to be used. And if that tool is overpowered, that tool is overpowered. So the problem I have with meta, and it's not even just in MOBAs. I mean, we're kind of getting too niche
Yeah, we're focusing on motives.
on MOBAs, but the whole idea is that I think it's really hard not to have a meta in any game. I get that, but I also feel like it's one of those things that for me, it doesn't make me enjoy that game. Like I play Magic the Gathering because I love coming up with quirky little stupid decks and building them and having fun. If I go to a tournament and, I play my quirky little deck and I win, I'm happy because I'm playing the game and I'm happy because maybe I won. But I'm not going to go to a tournament and just play just to fucking win by net
Mono
decking.
blue control.
Yeah, well, mono blue, yeah, exactly. Like I'm not going to just sit there. I'm not going to net deck. I'm not going to go, "Oh, this is the best deck right now. This is the meta. This deck right here. These cards are important." No, I'm not going to do that because that to me isn't fun. I go, I like this card. I like this card. They have good synergy. I'm going to make them synergize within this deck and then build something like, Hearthstone. It's like, oh, I don't know what the meta is now, but like I said, when I was playing, last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was like you needed to have Doctor Boom because it was just so RNG based and so OP. It was just like, yeah, you just swing in with your 1/1, kill another 1/1, or swing up, and then you essentially trade up almost like probably like 25% of the time. But card games specifically, Faria. I played Faria for a while, and it was like, well, if you're not playing, Yellow Rush, then why are you playing? Well, you got to play. I forgot the name of the card, and I just didn't. I didn't feel like I was having fun because I was forced to be able to do good in the game. I was forced to do something that I didn't find comfortable or enjoyable, and that's the problem I have. Is that when I go to play a game, I'm just going to have fun with it. I'm not going to sit there and just like, if I wanted to actually get really good at something, then I'll take my knowledge of the game and make it, and look into it and make myself better. I'm not going to go into it, net deck a deck, and then go and play that deck and just be like, yeah, I'm amazing. It's, to me, I just find it, counterproductive towards the game. It's just my opinion. It just annoys me because it's like you have people that'll hold true to it too, like as if it's like the word of God, and fuck that. Like, it's not cool.
Yeah, a lot of the time people don't take into account skill gaps as well with certain games, and they think that, especially when it comes to professional players, they're doing this what for like 8 hours a day or more, whatever game it is. Could be StarCraft 2, like a
Yeah,
RTS or something like that.
Yeah,
And they're doing this for more than like 8 hours a day. This
yeah,
is what they do every day. They get paid to do it, so they're constantly thinking about it, constantly playing it, always in the loop. And you get someone to see like, oh, that build was really good
right.
against Zerg, so I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna do that build, and it doesn't work for them, and they don't go, well, I guess I need to work on it more or whatever. They're just like, well, the build sucks or something. Like they don't. It escapes them that they'll have to actually put in a lot of time and effort and practice with it.
Right. And you bring up actually a really good point too that I actually overlooked. The fact that like you have this gap of like skill level. People just go, I want to emulate that. That looks easy. I'm going to do it. And then they play the meta or whatever, and then they just fuck it all up. And
Hmm.
then it's like you have this disastrous meta situation where it's like everyone's just playing this specific thing, and because they're playing this specific thing, there's like everyone, just the community or the people that you play with, just look at you like, why are you playing that? What's wrong with you? Or they just like scoff and like, it turns into like I'm kind of like delving into like the toxicity of a gaming community, but that's essentially what it is that I feel like, oh well, for example, I posted something on Reddit for Hunt Showdown, and my playstyle on Hunt Showdown was I play more safe and more kind of like, I crouch a lot and I'm more stealthy and more like I check bushes and stuff like that. And I posted this, I thought a decent situation where I took out a team by myself. It was 2v1. And because I used the game's mechanics and stealth and, my understanding of the game to my the best of my ability, I was able to kill them. And there was people that were like, oh, you're playing like a little bitch. Why don't you get in there? Why don't you man up and get in there? And it's like, what? Like,
The meta of the game right now is running duos and being aggressive.
exactly. That's the meta of the game, and it's like, get a partner. First off, all right, fuck that. I don't want to do that. And then second off, you have to be aggressive, or you have to, it's like a timed run. You have to get to point A to point B to point C to point D as soon as possible, and get as much money, and then grind, and then leave. And it's like, but by doing that, you're taking the fun out of the game. In my opinion, you're not enjoying the game because you're doing something that you feel is what you have to do in order to be successful at it, not to have fun at it. So I'm doing it the way I'm having fun, and apparently that wasn't the way to do it according to these guys, and they just, you know, I'm getting into the whole toxicity in the community and like that, but it's true. If you don't follow the meta, if you're in Heroes of the Storm, if you're in League of Legends, if you're in MOBAs, if you're in Hearthstone, and you're playing something that's not in the meta or not good or considered weak, the people that you're grouped up with or the people you're against will just fucking tear into you because why are you doing that? That's not gonna help us win. That's not gonna help you win and stuff like that.
I think the meta is more of a problem. I think it's less the community and more how developers built their game. Like every game we're talking about is rock, paper, scissors. To some extent, it's rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
So there's only so many combinations. So the way developers that make games create this. Just like something like, there's metas in Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter's meta. The only reason that came about is the way the game is built. So
Yes.
like, Will, your build on your gun lancer, that's a good meta build. And I don't know if it's actually part of like whatever meta they have for gun lancers, but that is a good meta build. Where you just
Look
it
at this
doesn't
guy
matter if something hits you, you just ignore it.
over here
It
being a
it
meta
was
player.
it was dumb luck, is what it
Yeah,
was.
it was dumb
Because
luck.
the armors in that game, you're meant to mix and match pieces so that you look like this ugly, monstrous abomination walking around. There's no like I want to look because there's no way to transmogrify things
Mhm.
in Monster Hunter. So you just have like this, just like you fell into your closet and then fell back out, and you're just like, all right, I'll go out with this. Whatever sticks to me, I'll wear. So I was just lucky in that the armor that I have for my first character is all about. I get like a three-piece set bonus for guarding, and now I'm at the max skill level for guard where nothing can really knock me down, do damage to me,
I'll
or
get knocked
I mean,
down.
I could even block attacks that are usually unblockable. So like any big explosion attacks or if they like fart out fire or something underneath them, I can actually block that and not take any damage or even be caught on fire. So I just was lucky in that there was an armor set like that. Otherwise, I'd be like everyone else, just this mixed match of things that give them the skills that they
Yeah,
want.
but you stumbled onto a meta that I think that meta is more how the developers made the game. I don't know. I think you have two players. I think when you have professional players, they create the meta. So like
Yes.
we didn't for like Heroes of the Storm,
Well,
we didn't
it's
hear of double tank or doing double tank until we saw it in a tournament, and that's what we did. So
yep.
when they do it, everyone emulates it and creates the metas of the game.
Yes, you're gonna have the situation where you have the game that provides the situation that makes, for example, Fario is that. Fario was in early access at the time, and because of it, they didn't have, a balancing of all the cards. They were balancing at the time, but they weren't balanced. Is
Yeah.
what I wanted to say. Excuse me. The problem with it was that because they weren't balanced, because the game was still in early access, you had this situation where cards that were designed were really overpowered, and they allowed the deck to kind of overwhelm other decks because of that. And yes, that's the development side. That's not the pro side, because the pros, all they do is they just shine a light on that. Now, in a situation where it's MOBAs, you have pros that are, they find like little niches and stuff like that with the talent builds, with a synergized with another character. People see it happen once, and they're like, I want that to happen. I want to do that now. Like, oh shit, that guy just Maev'd everyone in warden cages and then just etc rocked them with a mosh pit inside of it. I want to emulate that. So now going forward, etc Maev have to be on my team going forward because it's just so strong.
Yeah, but I think that's more of where we were before. It's the players. Like if we were all good at Here's the Storm and we wanted to play it and decide, you know what, we're gonna try a meta build that we're actually gonna practice, we could beat the dive because we'd have characters we're comfortable with. Most of the time we just rotate through, we see the meta build and we copied it. If we decide we're gonna do two tanks, we're gonna pick these characters and build against it, you can build against the meta and beat it. The problem is people
Yes,
see
you
it, and
can.
that's what we will all we want to do, and you don't have the people to spend the time to get the skill level.
I agree with you that you can absolutely beat the meta, whatever. You can beat the meta deck. You can beat the meta comp. You can beat the meta player that's just designed his life around following what people use to win
Mm-hmm.
and jumping on the bandwagon. You absolutely can. But because of certain things, your chances of winning are lower, but you also get a lot of flack from the community as well, which is,
Yep.
I think, unfair. You know, if it's a team-based game, I have no problem sacrificing. I wanted to play ETC, and it's like, well, or I wanted to play, black green control, and it's like, well, you're not gonna do good at that, and that's my choice though. That's single player, one-on-one. I can choose that, and I don't care. But in a team-based thing, people are gonna just flame you as much as possible and just BM you because you're not being cooperative and compromising. But the thing is that I want to play this game to have fun. So where do I sacrifice fun for winning this arbitrary number that means nothing to me in life? It's just a number that's online.
I think also with professionals when they put in complaints about something, it's taken into account, and when the vast majority of people that play it put in complaints about things, it's mostly ignored because
Yes,
Uh-huh.
that's
they
true.
make money off of the
That's
professional
true.
players. They don't off of just people playing it.
That's
Yep.
100% true. So then that's another thing too is that like I sit there and I go, fucking Maeve is extremely overpowered or extreme like her kit allows too much playmaking and little skill to do it. And because of that it's warping the Heroes of the Storm compositions. They're not gonna sit there and listen to me. They're just gonna be like, oh, this guy's just being salty. It's just a fucking moist grundle. Who the hell is this guy? No one cares about this guy, what he says. That's wrong. Like they shouldn't be nitpicking who they listen to. Not saying that they do or they don't, but for the most part, a meta is built based around the developers and the pros coming together and coming to an agreement essentially. Whether that
Yep.
agreement is just an exploit that is being found by the players, the pro players, or it's the pro players, communicating with the developers and saying via their HGC or professional plays and stuff like that. Like obviously, Tassadar was overpowered. He was picked 90% of the time during XYZ, and it's like I just feel like meta. It's frustrating when you're trying to play a game for fun and people are like, you have to play it like this. And if you don't play it like this, then you're not playing the game. Therefore, you're not having fun. And to me, that just it removes innovation because, especially in trading card games, you don't go out of your way to look for a way around to beat the meta, or you're not looking to build a deck that would be interestingly fun and stuff like that. I tried doing it in Faria, and it was frustrating because it was an early access and the cards just weren't that balanced. And Yellow Rush was really overpowered. You would just be hitting their face before they can do anything. So I just there's no way to get rid of it. I'm just venting and frustrated that it's like if I wanted to play competitively, I have to essentially accept the fact that I have to follow suit with everyone else and just play these characters or play this deck or play this specific way in order to succeed. Otherwise, get flamed by the community or flamed numerically with my stats. So it's not fun.
Will, final thought?
Um, God, yeah, like Buddy said, there's no fixing it. It's just gonna stay there forever because people would rather take the easy route than actually go about having fun with it and it being a bit more difficult for them. Uh, it's a lot easier to. That's really why I don't like multiplayer because it just forces me. I get forced into playing a way that I really don't want to.
Yeah.
And those like games that are just multiplayer only get really boring for me quite quickly. They just don't hold my interest as long as other games where I can just do whatever the hell I want.
Because you're just grinding the meta instead of grinding your skill.
You know, I guess this is kind of like, do you guys feel it's only in PvP games? Because I don't see any meta in, like, if you take Hammerwatch, is there a meta in Hammerwatch?
Sure.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
Sure.
sure there's.
But the thing is, the meta in like
characters
a
that are better than others.
yeah, the meta in like a campaign based or like an RPG or something like that is only so that you are doing more damage. You're min maxing. That's essentially what the meta is for like a solo thing is something like that. Whereas
So in Vermintide, are we gonna look at meta builds? Because I'm done. I got the stuff I'm looking for.
you got the flamethrower. That's it.
I got the sword and board, and I got
Well,
the every 20 seconds I avoid
so-
an attack.
There's
I'm done.
So there's three different
damn it. My headset's
subclasses
dying.
to whatever character you pick.
Yeah, so I got my
And
subclass. I'm done.
out of those three, there's going to be one that people consider
Don't
the
die,
best
bro.
out of it. And then, depending upon out of the 5 characters, there are going to be 4 characters that people consider to be the best team comp to go
And I'm
into anything. And you're going to get shit for choosing. Like I got a bunch of shit
I was going to say you got shit on.
in Vermintide for just playing Saltspire for playing the Witch Hunter in it because I
Yeah.
liked his character. I liked
See,
the way he
that's
played,
wrong.
and people would give me shit. And then by the end of the match, they would shut up because
that's-
I am
that's
very
what-
good with him.
Right. And that's the thing that really pisses me off, not to interrupt you, but that's what is the reason why I brought this up is that and it goes into the whole community thing that we're going to talk about later, but it's absolutely incorrect for you for me to sit there and go, you shouldn't play Saltspire because he's not that good based on this environment that we're dealing with. Or because most of the people that play Saltspire are just pants on head, therefore I'm just assuming based on statistics, Jesus Christ, that you're going to be a bad player. Like the community shouldn't sit there and flame someone for playing a game that they want to play and enjoy. At the same time, they have to rely on that person to succeed. So when you have, for my final thought is that when you have a game that requires people to play together, that they need to succeed together, that's where you're going to have meta builds and stuff like that overwhelm or override the fun part, because people want to win. They don't want to lose. Most of the time, people don't care about having fun. They just want to go in and win because maybe in life they don't. I don't know. It's just, that's how I feel about it. And you can't allow a community to do that. So that's my final thought.
Let me ask you guys a question.
Okay. What's your question?
If you're playing a role-playing game, it's
Okay.
a D20 based system,
All right.
and someone says, I got a nat 20, what is the first thing you guys think?
I think, wow, you just crit.
What do you
Yeah,
think, Will?
You crit, so roll.
Well, guess what? You're fucking wrong, because you're playing villains and vigilantes, and that's a critical failure. Because for whatever goddamn reason, this fucking game, they've decided that they're going to go the opposite way for half their system, but not all of it. So, for a quick highlight of V&V, for people that haven't played it, in 3.0, your initiative, the highest score wins. For your damage, the higher the number, the better the damage. For your attack roll, the lower the number, the better you are a chance to hit. If you're roll percentage, the closer to 1, the better you're doing. Why? Because you want to be fucking different and stupid. There is a D. So I looked. There's D4 systems, D6 systems, D8 systems, D12 systems,
D10.
and D20 systems, and D100 systems.
Cyan's D10.
So you know what all those systems have in common?
Higher is better.
Higher is better. Do you know why? Because if I told you you have a 99% chance, do you think, what's your first thought if I say it's 99%?
I say that's good, right?
No, sorry, you're wrong. You're playing V&V. It's the opposite. Because if I tell you you have a 99, if I tell you you had 99, think, cool, close to 100. 100 must be perfect. No, sorry, you're wrong. Because V&V is designed to be an exclusive niche game.
Well,
And here's my proof. My proof is, go back to 2.1. How do we calculate, how do we figure out if you hit in 2.1? What did our DM have to do?
a
He
formula.
had a fucking spreadsheet to put in our goddamn shit
It
to
was
figure
a
out.
formula. It was
It
insane.
was a formula. It was a complicated Excel file. If I rolled and passed my attack roll, he'd have put my attack roll into a spreadsheet, then do computations and be like, I'm sorry, even though you hit, you didn't hit.
Well, because isn't it based on like their response to hand or something like that?
It was like, their response, oh, but your power level. See, you're using a power level 1 power. when they're using power level 2 power for the defense, so you naturally get shut the fuck up.
It's
Do you know why Traveler is my favorite system? If you get an 8, you succeed.
no matter what.
No matter what. There's no, well, the enemy was like doing a somersault, so you got distracted because they took their penis out and waved it at you. So you instantly
They
fell.
helicoptered
No,
in your face.
they helicoptered you.
Backflipping.
No, boom, you get hit. V&V is trying way too hard to be different and only having a niche community.
But also, like, the thing is too is that maybe there's it's a mechanic that they're trying to not be niche about, but at the same time trying to not trademark or copyright from other systems. Because a lot of systems, like you said, there's D4s, all the D10s, D12 systems, and they do that same thing. Sure, maybe they're trying too hard and being like, well, we're going to be the different kids and go backwards. But if you're going to do that, you should do that with everything.
Yes.
Except for when you're rolling a character. That you just randomly generate it, and that would be...
But I mean, think about it like from the perspective of, all right, what's the biggest, when you make a game, what's the biggest thing you want? You want people to play it. Well, you've just eliminated a good chunk of the population because they're going to be like, wait, what? What is the normal thing that we explain every week when we play? I need to get under a 14 to hit?
No, you need an 11 or
11 or
Yeah,
under,
you
depending
need
on your
11.
modifier. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Because
most of the time
it's-
the question we answer is, I got a 20, that's a hit, right? No, that's a fail. Oh. You have to completely change your mindset every single week.
You do have
play
to
this game.
adjust. You have to
It's a
adjust.
niche.
Yeah, you have to adjust, especially because we play Traveler on Thursday. So when we play Traveler, we're in this idea of like, okay, cool. I'm gonna roll 2d6 and I'm gonna get 8 and I'm gonna be fantastic. And then you go into V and V, 4 days later or 3 days later, and you're just like, I rolled 2d6. Oh wait, no, it's a d20. I'm gonna roll a d20. I got a 20. I'm sorry. Wait, do I win? I don't
You
understand
fail.
what I'm doing.
Roll it again to see if you really fail.
So my take on this is that V&V is not as bad as it gets. There is another system I find to be so obnoxious.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, tell me.
It's another Star Wars role.
Oh, Force.
It's not. No. It's not the one that we did.
Okay.
No,
that
the
at
other
all.
one, the Force one, where you have to have the stupid dice, right?
All the dice have symbols on them, and instead of numbers, you roll and you get failures and successes.
Based on the
But then there's
symbols.
also severity levels to those failures and successes that could come up as well. Like you have that could change what happens. Like you could succeed, but you get a disadvantage from that success for some reason, and you could fail but gain an advantage from that failure. It's all to facilitate the role playing of the game. It's specifically all your dice rolls have nothing really to do
About
with
numbers.
combat at all.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you do well in combat, you could still get out a-okay because the dice allow you to role play off of them, and it's the most obnoxious
I
shit
get it because you roll
I've
the
ever
dice.
seen. If you
Edge
really want
of
to
the
role play that
Empire.
hard, yeah, if you want to role play that hard, just go I don't know, go join a play. Get into a play and play a role in a play,
Become a
because that's what they're there
thespian
for.
and
It's
get
all-
out of
yeah,
my house.
Become a thespian and join a drama club. That's all role play. Go do improv. That's all, role play working off of each other. Why
You
the
think
fuck
you
are you
role-played a
playing a
normal
game?
game?
Well, yeah, you
like-
don't need the dice to dictate how you roleplay, though. That's the thing. Is that I mean, Mutants and Masterminds had a pretty over. I think it was too much. It was like it's like I'm gonna punch this guy, and then you punch him, and then you roll a dice to hit, and you're like, cool, I hit, and then you have a condition track, and it was like based on how hard you hit him, he has to roll on this condition track, and if he rolls like it was like if he has 3 fails in a row or something like that, he
it's
goes
based
one
off-
track up. You're like fucking a conductor on a train.
It's based off of the difference between the roles.
Yep.
So if there's
That's what it was. Yeah.
it's up to like a 5 number difference. So up to 5. If there's a 5 number difference between the two roles, you basically you're within one condition, the first condition on the track. If you go above 5, like 6 or more, now you have the second level of conditions applied to you automatically.
It's like a soft crit or a soft cap kind of
Yep.
thing.
But there's also to consider in that game, they don't have fucking HP in it.
Nope.
Instead,
No.
you work off of toughness, willpower and something else. And your toughness is like if you're getting hit and damage is going to be done to you, you have to be able to go past their toughness. And if you go past their toughness threshold, then you see the difference that you beat it by, and then you go to the condition track and see like, okay, you're just first level condition. And the condition track is ridiculous in my opinion. It's so if you get fucking destroyed, like one person out of the group gets destroyed in combat, but you do fine anyway, they could be a cripple at the end of that combat because of the conditions from the condition track, and they are no longer of use to you.
I am
They
now
are pretty
dead.
much Professor X stuck in his floaty wheelchair, going into people's minds and jacking off every day. That's all they can do from that point on because they are just you. They're
Yeah,
so
fucked.
debilitated.
So it was permanent?
Some
it
of it
was
could
like-
be, yeah.
Some of them could be, yeah.
Some of it could be.
That's so insane.
That's
It's
why I
like,
had arrows. I was gonna try to use arrows like death.
like
You can't walk anymore.
I rely on my legs so I can be an acrobat. Oh,
Nope.
you
Yeah, well,
lost,
you're
you're,
fucked then,
you're
'cause I just took your
paralyzed from the
legs.
waist down. Oh boy.
Even the Star Wars tabletop role play game that we played had a condition track, and I just took that and threw it in the fucking trash.
Condition
because
tracks
was-
just don't make
it
sense.
didn't
to
need
me.
it. The
Nope.
game didn't need the condition track because when you look at the disadvantages from those conditions, they're so huge. They have such a huge impact on your character's ability to just fight in combat, and it was only combat. It didn't affect skill rolls or anything. It was just for combat.
Right.
It was like people for a time had a vendetta against combat in tabletop RPGs and just wanted to fuck with it so much because they didn't like it or there was just too much. It took too long. It's like, well, with these conditions, they'll never be able to hit or defend themselves, so they'll just die in 5 minutes. Like,
Unless you're a Jedi, then you could be like, no conditions. The Force.
You could use a destiny point if you had one
Yeah.
to, I guess, get rid of a condition if that was a thing in it, but I don't know if you can even do that.
I guess my problem is I think V and V is just the first one that actually like pissed me off about it. Because I mean Mutants and Masterminds aggravated me. The Star Wars one, I just completely removed that as existence. Edge of the Empire doesn't exist with me because it doesn't have dice. It's fucking no. V and V just aggravates me because there was one point playing the last time we were playing 2.1. I attacked someone. Jay's like, I have to put this through the spreadsheet to figure it out. I'm like, excuse me?
Is-
I'm like, I passed. He's like, no, I'm sorry, you actually failed. I'm like, what? What? My character, and the other thing that really aggravated me about that is there was a point in our last V&V game that I was a player in. My character had like 2 abilities. He could regenerate health, and
Oh,
he could
that's right.
he could build bones out of his body to
Yeah.
make them into weapons.
I threw you at someone.
And Buddy's character was elastic, so we were being attacked by some guy in the air. So as like a last ditch attempt, Buddy launched my character as like a gun. I slammed into the guy, pierced him, slammed into the ocean, and he didn't die.
Because when
He
you
got
pierce,
up and left. I was dead. My body was like destroyed. He got up and left.
yep.
And after that, I was like, fuck this system. Fuck this game and fuck this system. My character's like dead right now. I mean, fine, regenerated, so whatever. But that's the guy was like, yeah, that might have hurt. Bye.
You
thing
went
that
through him.
frustrates-
I went through him,
Like,
and he was fine.
like bullets
He was
that are
fine.
like 9 millimeters and like 3750, like those hit people and they die. You're 5 foot something going through someone. Like,
I mean, I
you're
did point myself
taking-
as 2 swords to cut through him, but yeah, I went through him, and he survived. Way.
Well, I would have done it where you didn't, like, your full body didn't go through him, because that would be ridiculous that he'd be able to survive that unless he had the power to instantly go back in time to put himself at a
restore
different point in time
himself
where he
from
would,
the
you know,
point.
like instant restoration
Is he
where he'd
Windows?
die and then restore over time. But I would have had
Restore
it where,
point?
like, maybe one of your weapons pierced him and
like a
hit him in a
fist.
good spot, not like a mortal blow spot, but did a good enough damage where he would feel that he needed to retreat instead of you puncture through his chest cavity. But he's like, I don't have a heart. I'll see you later,
Because-
losers.
Because
you know
the
what I
dice
remember?
rolled and the
I
formula
just remember
came
Jay
out.
saying, he's going to roll with it. And I was like, he's going to what?
roll
He was
with.
like, he's going to roll with it. I'm like,
He's gonna roll
had
with.
a seizure. He's like, he's going to roll with it. I'm like, I'm going to fucking
But,
kill everyone.
Because didn't you crit or did I crit when I threw you?
We both did.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
He rolled with it. That's the only thing about V&V that I like, but I fucking hate it. Is that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna roll with it. You're gonna roll with what? I'm gonna use my power points to absorb damage. Go fuck yourself.
It's just like, because
How does that even work though?
Because, like, think about this. Your So what bugs me about the new system is the way
Inventing.
that like inventing in it in the old system, first system that I played with Jay as our GM, you could invent new ways to use your powers, and you could either take another, like say you had ice powers, you could take another power out of the ice power section,
Hmm.
and it would cost a certain amount to get it at its like base level,
Yeah.
or you
You
could
can
have a
build
discussion with your
some.
GM and come up with something original.
Yeah.
And then you would make up how much damage it would do, what it would cost power wise, and
You
all this other blah
it
blah blah.
helped you with like making your character more roundabout.
This
And
game,
making your character.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. The way you want to play it and stuff like that. Which I mean, granted, you have to talk to your GM or your DM and stuff like that. You don't want to be
He's an
like,
asshole for your game anyway, so don't talk to him.
yeah,
but
like I
this
want
this
to have a
this
freeze
new
ray.
version, just the inventing points turns everyone into MacGyver, where they just look at what they have around them and take a paperclip, some
Yeah,
bubble gum, and a toothpick, and they, I don't know,
It's
do
a new
some
gun.
stupid shit with it. Like all like my character's has like all magic. He was like a magician as his background. So I just use that as to do like stupid parlor tricks, like card tricks and stuff like that, because they're simple, they're easy to do. So that's what I use the inventing points for. Now, like it's just to me, it's like I don't think
you
about it
can.
in the middle of combat. To like, how long is it going to take me to put that crap together?
Well,
I think it says
MacGyver
you
took,
need to
he was
be.
under
It's not.
gunfire when
It can't be using it.
made a tank
When
out
you
of a
read the book,
paperclip and a rubber
it says
band.
you need to be in an area where you can invent, and it takes time. So it's not like, oh, we gotta get out of this room. Well, I'm gonna use this coin to open up the door. It'd be like I have to go back to my lab to go
Right.
look at this coin to figure out how to make it to open doors.
But you can also use the inventing points to temporarily increase your stats of your
Yeah.
abilities if you wanted to. Like you can create a device that like I wear this ring and it gives me plus whatever and I can
Temporary.
do yeah exactly
then it
it's
breaks.
temporary and then it breaks. Right, exactly. Whereas 2.1 it was permanent, I'm pretty sure, because you can
you would
invent
use
weapons.
you made a
Make
device that's basically permanent.
your
Yeah, it
abilities.
could break,
Yeah,
but
and exactly, it was your abilities, or you can make a device. Because I remember I made a sword that turned into a. It was like a sword that turned into two
Swords that
swords.
turned into two swords that turned into
a bow,
a bow.
and then turned into a spear or something like that.
Yeah, some stupid
It was
shit.
like-
this
was
is
just-
why you guys don't have inventing points because I
And
don't even want
Josh-
to imagine.
Josh was decked out in like spider armor, and he had the gun from Judge Dredd that would only allow him to fire it, or else somebody would get
Because it was
electrocuted if they
DNA. It
grabbed
was based
yeah.
on DNA. It was
He
Spider
was
Knight, right?
Spider Knight.
Yeah. Yep. I remember him trying to break through a wall and he couldn't because he had a cow carcass and he was beating it. It was just too squishy, so I just froze it and he beat down a
And
metal
then he-
wall with it. We were in a UFO.
See, that is the one thing I've decided to do. Like, well, that's kind of off topic, but it's one of the things I'm deciding to do to change about V&V is to make it more like that. Because I
Just
think 3.0
spontaneous.
3.0 optimized stuff. It made a lot of things really good, but I think inventing points they dropped the ball on. And the powers,
Yeah.
I feel like they streamlined the powers and
Yeah,
But-
I feel like the powers you can't really be like for example, in that exact scenario, you know, our friend had a character that was super strong. He picked up a carcass of a dead cow and used it to beat down a wall, but he couldn't because it was decayed. So I used my power to freeze it to make it harder, and then because of that I was able to break down the wall. Like I feel like that is missed in 3.0.
Yes.
Like because it's more streamlined and you can't really it's more linear, I feel like. Maybe it's just because people aren't like playing like that, where it's just like kind of chaotic, because that's how that player is. He's very chaotic. But I just feel like because the numbers are less and it's more nerfed than it was,
Yeah.
because the ice powers used to be really strong.
now you
in
can
2.0.
code something with ice or code yourself with ice.
You used to be able to hurt people with them.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
you don't.
You can hurt people if they don't break out of it.
Oh,
Which is gonna
Okay.
happen all the time because you're pretty much giving them a nice dusting.
listen. When Iceman was first created in the comic books, he chucked snowballs at people and it hurt them. So this whole like covering them in fucking ice, no.
can't even
You should be able to make
imagine
ice shards and fucking hurl them at people.
Right. It's not like it's a hard thing to understand. The air is moist. Like the air has moisture in it. Like you can make if you can control ice powers, how is it hard to control that?
So final thoughts, buddy. Final thoughts.
Uh, I mean, I get what they're trying to do. It doesn't really bother me, but I think what they need to do is they need to be more consistent with it. It shouldn't be like half this, half that. It shouldn't be like I roll, I get a 100, it's a bad thing, but then like in other aspects of the game, if I roll and I get a 1, that's a bad thing. You need to be consistent throughout the mechanics or how the game is played. That's just my opinion. I
Well,
still love it though.
Yeah, I'm very happy that they kickstarted a new edition of it. Just I really don't want them to go down the line of like a fifth edition with D&D where they focused mainly on one thing, and it just like if you're gonna streamline it, do it enough where it makes sense. But if you do it too much, it's just like it's not gonna come out good.
Yeah.
It's just not.
nope.
Just focus on cleaning things up a bit. That's really all I thought they needed from the previous version is just clean up the math a little bit. Like I understand what you're doing, but
Shouldn't be that hard.
just clean it
You
up a bit.
seriously needed a formula. Like it was like a chemical breakdown kind of thing. It was like, oh, I'm in chemistry. I'm gonna create, some kind of fluoride or something like that. All right, it was insane. Like it shouldn't be that complicated. So
My final thought on it is they needed. I think they did a great job, but like Traveler, I'm gonna homebrew the shit out of this thing, and I'm gonna make it 10 times better.
I mean,
What I realized from Traveler is Traveler was a great system, but we've homebrewed about half of the rules in it,
yeah.
and I think it's more engaging now than it was originally. So I think I'm gonna do the same thing to V and V. But
I think most D&D esque kind of systems are always good when you add your own twist to them anyway. Because then it allows you to build your universe the way how you want to do it with the mechanics.
so let's talk about how Valve is making
Making what?
Yeah. So
games.
speaking of inventing
You
points,
cut out.
Valve acquired a few, and now they're able to start shipping games again.
So
For a very long time, Valve hasn't really done much in the way of making games. They put out Dota 2, and that was pretty much it. After that, they just focused on making Steam into the pile of garbage that it is now, with the Steam Greenlight program, which
it's
was
such a whore.
goddamn.
It's taking so much of my money.
Well, Steam's great. It gives me quick access to games, whatever. But they're all digital. If I couldn't find it there, there's stores now. Are all you can download digital versions of the games anyway. So the only thing they really have going for them with Steam is that it has everything there for players to find video games,
Find each
meet
other.
up with their friends, set up. I mean, their voice chat is shit.
Yeah, I was gonna
just,
say
like,
their voice
just
chat is garbage.
get in touch with each other real quick.
Yep.
Find a game that they like. Sales are really great. That's about it. They just have a lot of sales, pretty much, which holds me to it. But recently, they figured out, or they got to a point where they can start shipping again, because Gabe Newell said that for a long time Valve was very jealous of how Nintendo goes about making their games and their new systems and hardware, because what Nintendo's able to do is not only are they able to develop new hardware, but alongside that they're able to develop the games with it as well. So he gave like an example of Miyamoto's not just sitting there thinking about, oh, what's the next game I'm going to be making, next Mario or Zelda. He's thinking about, oh, what's the controller going to be like? How could I use that for the game? What's the hardware going to be like? If Miyamoto sits around and does that, I don't
I was
know.
gonna say I don't know if he does that.
Yeah,
But
I doubt it.
he's there alongside the development of the hardware because they make it like in-house.
Right.
So they have everybody that can make the chips for it, all the diagnostic stuff and everything like that. The
And you're saying
engineers and
Valve
everything have it.
doesn't? They get Sony
Valve didn't. They actually built themselves up to that point now.
using Steam.
So now Gabe says that everybody in the company feels comfortable in going into whatever they think they can do next. So if it's building hardware alongside new games like they're doing now, they feel very comfortable that they have the expertise and the employees
So
to do
wait,
so.
let me get this straight. What you're saying is that Valve is coming out with Half-Life 3 now, right? Is that what's going on here?
Man, yes, and it's called Artifact, and it's a card game.
Wow.
That's it. That's their first game that they're coming out. Artifact's their first new game they're coming out with. It's a card collecting
It's a
game.
bit of a
kinda
twist, but hey,
kind of like Hearthstone because it's modeled after Dota 2. So it's going to have a lot of it's going to have all the heroes from Dota 2 in it as cards. It's going to have different stupid things
Half-Life
as
3
cards
confirmed. I
from
feel
Dota
like
2,
you're trolling.
items and whatnot. Then they have a couple of VR games that they're working on because they haven't let VR die yet. It's still there, still holding strong with all the trash that's come out from it. Not going away anytime soon. So they're still going to go into the Vive with it, and they're developing like 3 other games for that right now that they're working on. But they're still going to do more. So good news, Valve can make games again. Whether or not they're going to be any games that people want,
Yep.
I don't know. I
Did
don't
you-
really
am
want
I
them.
Muted or are you muted? I lost.
Nope.
You okay?
You turned off your
My
headset.
just continue.
Okay. So I personally don't want them to go back to Half-Life 3 or make Portal
No,
3 or anything
they
like that.
shouldn't.
I'd rather them just, if they're comfortable with working with what they have now and that they can develop games alongside developing the hardware for them. Nintendo's had a lot of success with that. Just do that. If you're going to copy Nintendo,
Make a
fine,
new IP.
do that. Yeah, come up. What they're doing? They have their
No,
artifact card game.
A fucking card game is not
Okay,
a
so
new
what I
IP.
see in the works, okay, what I see ahead for their futures after those VR games that are going to tank, they're just going to be god awful.
Yep, they're gonna be awful.
Battle Royale is coming out next. Dota 2 Battle Royale. Much like Paladins Battle Royale, we're going to have Dota 2 Battle Royale.
Or is it
And we're
going to
going
be
to have
like
Dota
Battle
2. Uh,
Because Battle Royale is a FPS. Is it going to be FPS or is it going to be like Battle Right where it's kind of like an arena based?
well, Paladins is made by Hi-Rez, and Paladins is a MOBA. Well, not a MOBA. It's a first person. It's
Overwatch.
basically Overwatch.
Yeah.
They made a Battle Royale version
For Dota
for that
2.
game. Hi-Rez. No, not for Dota 2. No, I'm just joking. But I'm foreseeing them doing that because if they're just going to copy Nintendo and what they're doing and hope it succeeds for them the way it has for Nintendo, who's been doing it for decades,
Right.
then they might as well just keep copying it. They're basically, what I see is that they took the Blizzard model of game development and they just looked around and said, we can do that, but we can make it much easier for gamers to play it and much more approachable where there's less involved in it. And it's just like a blanket. Like, yeah, we got the Battle Royale, but here's ours. It's for children. Here's our
And it
child
has-
MOBA.
It has Dota 2 characters. Do you remember Dota 2 from like Warcraft 3? Do you guys remember that mod? You remember how we made it a game afterwards? Is that so cool? Yeah,
But-
let's bring you back to it.
Quick,
I'm glad
quick
that they're
little
going-
fact on the side. Sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
Overwatch. So Paladin is being the game. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, Paladin. You mean like Overwatch, like Chinese Overwatch? Because it's like they copied exactly Overwatch, and that's what China.
Chinese.
Well, that's what the Chinese do. But
That's what the Chinese did, yeah.
yeah, but the thing is that,
That was on mobile.
yeah, but the thing is that Overwatch actually copied a another
Valve game.
studio. I think was it Valve? I'm not sure, but they copied.
Team Fortress 2 is a Valve game.
Well, no, it wasn't Team
Oh
Fortress
yeah,
2. It was
Team Fortress.
there was I can't remember what it's called, but they copied like Reinhardt and Farah and Widowmaker and like one other or two others were copied from another game, which was the same studio that made Paladins, I believe, or associated with
Hi-Rez?
Paladins. Yeah, I believe so.
There's
and,
another. Okay.
and it's not a FPS quick shooter like the other ones. It was a different type of genre, but their mechanics and their skill sets were the same. So
Is it the game that was?
I'd have to find the video.
It was Agents of
I think
something
it-
because I
Yeah,
know
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Agents of something.
Yeah, because that was what the other studio that Hi-Rez was partners with. That's what they based Paladins
Agents
off
of Mayhem
is-
or something like that.
I was gonna say Agents of Mayhem, the really
No, no,
bad
no, no, no,
Saints
no.
Row spinoff.
No,
Not that,
that's not
no,
that. It's Agents
um,
of something.
It was an MMO.
But the
I can't
idea is that
remember.
they essentially took those skills or that skill set from the mechanically how that type of character is played, and then just put it in a different genre. And so Paladins, I give them some credit to not be an Overwatch wannabe, but at the same time, I don't give them credit for pretty much designing a game that's relatively the same with whatever. Regardless, I just
But-
it was something
but-
I read about recently, and I thought it was
Like,
interesting.
TF2 was out before that, and then
that's true.
Team Fortress even before that. Like it's
Yeah.
just like it's Team Fortress. Just your characters have abilities instead of earning items that give your characters ability.
Right.
Same stuff.
So
I
do
don't
you
know,
think
I think-
Artifact is going to be good? What do you?
Probably. I mean, if they just do what Magic the Gathering does and Hearthstone does, it should be okay. I'm sure there'll be people that'll just throw money at it because they're Dota 2 fans.
It's gonna be like Hearthstone, like Magic, like Gwent, like Faria. Should I keep the list going about the amount of
Well,
fucking card games out there?
Out of all those games, I would say the ones that stick out the most is Faria and Gwent's because they are card games, but they're dynamically different. Faria specifically, because
We haven't made a game in like 10 years. we're gonna come back to the stage. Everyone, get ready. Everyone, hold on. Our brand first game we're coming out is a fucking card game.
There's
Who's
another
pumped?
there's another card game
Yay!
that
Just like two guys on the
came out.
background.
I don't think it came out too long ago, but it has a bunch of tournaments that they stream on Twitch. It's some sort of it's just anime based, like it's an anime based card game or whatever. Not like anime
Shadowverse?
shows.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, Shadowverse.
Shadowverse, yeah.
That
Shadowverse.
seems like people seem to enjoy that to the point where they
'Cause
have
it's
tournaments for it
free.
and everything. So it's yeah, but I don't see no Valve's gonna have you buy it.
The
You're gonna be
problem with
buying it.
card games is it goes back to my whole spiel is that you have the meta. Meta builds in it, and you can't fucking play it unless you throw money at the game. It's
Just
that
think of this.
simple.
You haven't made a game in like what, 10 years?
More than that. Valve?
More than that. And your unveiling is, hey, we saw that Blizzard did this, and we thought that was kind of cool. And we had a game on early access on our console that we were selling, and we're like, that's kind of cool. So you know what we're gonna do? There's this game that we like, I think either bought or did something with from a Warcraft 3 game like 20 years ago. We're gonna make it a card game. Are you guys ready for it? We
mean-
feel so confident now that we have a good development team. We are so confident we're gonna make a card game. It's gonna be 2D. Are you ready?
I think
Are you ready?
it's not.
Go
If
fuck
you
yourself, Valve.
if you think about it, it actually.
Go fuck yourself.
If you think about it, it actually makes sense because the amount of money that will be coming in from the card game would be high. Because it'll be a free card game, I assume, and then you go.
No,
with
it's
the-
not. They're gonna make you buy
Valve?
that shit.
Dota's
not gonna
free
give
to
you
play
shit for
after you
free.
buy the base game,
Yeah.
which is not free to play. You have to buy the game. That's not a free to play game.
I mean, Dota 2 is free. It's just it's kind of piggyback free.
Mm.
It piggybacks off of a game you purchased already.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking
Fuck
like
Valve, that
if
was
if
stupid.
they do a
Planning.
trading card game, it should be free, and then the people spend money on
Yep.
packs, and then that money would help supply other games as well as balancing that game. As
That's-
if Valve doesn't make enough money off of
But
Steam
just-
games anyway.
Sit back and really think about this. You haven't made a game in X amount of time. You're gonna come out with a fucking card game.
Listen, card games are one
But
of
I
the
mean-
most
I mean,
popular
look
things
what
out
they
there. They're
said.
more popular than
We
video
haven't
games.
made a game because we haven't felt confident that we could keep that we were really knew what we were doing. I mean, it's really what they talk about. They wanted to make sure that their development team was confident to develop on a platform while it's being made. And you made a fucking card game.
Yeah, but the
Well,
card
'cause it's-
card
it's-
games are
it's-
more
it-
popular than anything else.
But you've done nothing. You could have done that with a bunch of kids in the fucking basement.
Well,
I mean, yes. I'm not
So
saying
they-
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that like them coming out with a card game doesn't really merit any kind of like animosity, I guess. It's just they think that hey, we're gonna,
Fucking lazy.
I think that their whole idea going into this is that they want to be like Nintendo, where they have the opportunity to develop games on their own platform that people will have to go to them for. They don't want to have to go through anybody else. They don't want to have to put it in the hands of other people. They want to
Right.
make sure that it's up to their standard of whatever quality is for them. And just have it. They want that confidence to know that it's going to be good. It's going to be a good product that their community is going to enjoy. It, their community is going to get involved in, and it just seems that they want to be more hands on with it. They don't want to green light it.
Right.
Okay, they don't want to throw it into their own green light program, which they don't have anymore, by the way, because it turned out to be god awful. Because there was just garbage trash coming out all the time with it. No actual good games got the votes they needed to be put on Steam, but all this trash shit, all these friggin' stupid visual novel games kept coming out, which are like just fuck off.
I just can't do it. Some people like it, but whatever. So final thoughts, Becca. What's your final thought? I mean, you don't like card
Oh,
games.
yeah, my final thought is if you're gonna come out and be like, all right, we haven't made a game in a while. We're coming out. We're going to tell you that we're developing games with the platform. We're really coming together. We really think we're confident now to make a game. So we're going to take this old concept of fucking Dota characters and make a card game because
it's WoW.
that's what
It's
all these
Blizzard
other people are
characters.
doing that are making a boatload of money. And you know what? We want to make more money. So even though there's enough card games out there to oversaturate the market, we're not going to do anything new. We're not going to do anything that warrants you to even pay attention to us except for Valve. So we're going to make a card game. We're back, baby. And you know what? Go fuck yourself, Valve. If I had the chance I had of buying any of your original products is dead. And if your ideas, if your 4 games that are come out is we're gonna do a card game, go fuck yourself. A VR game, Go fuck yourself again. Another VR game. Go fuck yourself even harder. Another VR game. Stick your head up your ass and come out the other way and create an infinity loop. Go fuck yourself. I'm done with your shit.
But what's
And for all the people that are sitting there going, I wonder if Half-Life 3 is on there, you're really stupid at this point. You're just dumb. You're asking for it.
my final thoughts are, I don't find it that bad of a problem for them coming out with a card game, because card games have their own balancing and have their own issues that require a lot of resources. Also, it can help fund future things, so it's whatever. It just depends on how they, how it's established and how, when it comes out, how they do it. That's like how everything is done at release is going to be imperative to how successful they're going to be going down the road. So there's that. I'm excited for Half-Life 3. Can't wait for it to come out. VR games, I do plan
Keep dreaming.
to get VR games. I do plan to get VR soon, especially a Vive, specifically a Vive.
Oh, we're talking about VR next week. That's my topic. I already wrote it down.
Okay.
I hate VR. It's my topic next week.
It's because it's expensive and
Nope.
and fun, and you don't
Nope.
like either of those things.
Don't worry. I got my points for why I hate VR next week.
Anyway, my final thoughts are, it took them a long time to decide they wanted to do this. Not sure what created it, but I'm interested to see what they come up with. But at the same time, it might be too late for them. I don't get it. Like, I don't know why they want to do it, but it's whatever.
Will?
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that they want to start shipping games again. If, like Buddy says, they're going to put the money towards game development as well and supporting their games that they currently have, like, I don't know, let's say like CS:GO, and taking that game and putting it, not making it an even bigger pile of shit, because apparently like the community just overall says the game is in a terrible place and they don't support it like they used to. If they put resources towards that, some of what they make, that's fine, that's great. If it's just another way for them to just squeeze every nickel and dime out of people again, like, I could care less.
Yeah.
I've never been, like, I've played, the only Half-Life game I played all the way through was Blue Shift, and it was fun, but I don't know. We need something different from them. I don't want them to focus on just VR. I don't want them to just copy other games that are out right now.
Yeah,
but
the
I have a
idea that
feeling
they're
that's the way that they're
copying
gonna go.
copying other people is I'm not a fan of, but at the same time,
Make a new IP.
yeah.
You have so many resources. Just sit back and be like, guys, something new.
What if the new Artifact game is a VR card game?
I'm done.
I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest.
Becker just got up
I
and
could
left.
see a company like that. I could see any company doing that, because it probably has happened already.
Yeah,
Someone
exactly.
probably
It's
made like a
probably
VR version of their card game. I mean,
Fucking make VR Yu-Gi-Oh!
One of the most popular VR games at the time was VR Chat, and it's just you going into a chat room and people wearing stupid avatars and just saying
VR
dumb
chat.
shit.
Yeah, VR chat. That's
Yeah.
Gary's mod. But yeah.
It's Gary's mod again. Oh my.
Yeah, I think it's Gary's mod. Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
So
That
let's-
needs to fucking die. If they devote resources to fucking killing Gary's mod, I'd be all for it, and I would help them do it. I would hunt the guy down that created it and fucking kill him, because I hate Gary's mod. Every fucking person uses it. I see it all over YouTube and streamers and stuff. It's so fucking boring. It's so dumb. Stop it. No more.
I think
Stop.
I think we found Will's next week's topic.
It's Gary's.
Gary's mod.
All right.
So yeah.
So the main topic tonight is about toxicity in gaming.
Yeah. I mean,
I think we've kind of touched on this kind of all night in one way or another, from meta to I think my feelings about card games. It's
Yeah.
probably what's wrong with some of the community too.
yeah, it's just it's not. I don't understand why people have to be such shitheads to other people. I don't understand the concept. Like, I get salty sometimes when I play and someone does something really dumb, but I only get to that point if they're just being a complete and utter douchebag in the game. Like, when you're blatantly fucking running in 1v5 in a fight or doing something absolutely pants on head, I'm not going to sit there and say, you're a fucking retard and you need to kill yourself. I'm more lines of like, can you stop doing that, please? Like, wait for the team. Something like that.
Reported.
Well, that I don't. Yeah, that goes back to last week. But I don't like the idea of just instantly flaming someone and telling them to kill themselves, and then like just all this ridiculous shit. If someone posts something on the community and they're looking for help for it, don't be a fucking cunt. Don't be a complete douchebag about whatever that person posted. Just if it's something that you don't agree with, don't say a fucking thing. If you don't agree with it and you can't communicate that in an intelligent and respectful way, shut your goddamn fucking mouth. It's that fucking simple. Don't be a terrible person. Is it that fucking hard? Is it that hard? Like, I can't go onto a Reddit for a game community without people tearing into each other because of some arbitrary number that means more to them than someone else. My kill death spread is this. I don't give a shit what your kill death spread is. I don't give a shit about anything you do in the game. As long as that when we're interacting with each other, you're polite to me and you're playing your role the way you're supposed to play it, by all means, I'm cool with you, man. Even if you fuck up a couple times. It happens. We're a human. You're not perfect. I get it. But to go back to the Hunt Showdown thing, I posted a video on Reddit and people fucking flipped the shit about it. Well, these two guys kind of like laid into me saying that I was a bitch or whatever, and I guess that made them feel much better about their penis size. But I don't understand the concept of this, oh, I'm hidden through anonymity. And here's the thing, I'm not hidden because my name is all over everything that I do internet wise. I have a podcast, I stream all the time, I have Facebook, I have all this shit and it's associated with my name. So they can just come back and see me bitching about them. And yeah, if you do see this, go fuck yourself. It's just that simple. I don't care that your kill death spread is better than mine because it doesn't make or break how I play the game. You play the game you want to play, I'll play the game how I want to play, and we'll kind of meet in the middle somewhere. But then they're like calling people out, like, because then people came and like said like, don't listen to them, they're just being douchebags. But then they are calling like the terrible people that started with me are starting with everyone else as well, and that should not be okay. Like that toxicity should be squashed. It should be squelched the moment it just shows its ugly fucking cancerous face. It needs to be.
Do you know
killed.
something really interesting? So I'm part of a couple of gaming communities. So I'm part of a DM gaming community, Monster Hunter, Elite Dangerous, and I'm trying to look at the other one. Do you know what's interesting about those three? There isn't a single negative post that I've seen in a while. There aren't. I don't ever see any negative posts for DMing. I never see in Monster Hunter. I never see any negative ones. Same thing with Elite. There's no negative ones.
Maybe it's just me. I'm just a magnet.
No,
for assholes.
it's once you touch a game that has PvP in it,
yes,
shit goes off the wall because people that like PvP like that conflict.
Yeah, I mean, even in like MMOs, like when I played WoW, whenever I played for 8 years, and I would play PvP, and you do things in the game where it's like, you go into Stormwind as a rogue and you go and gank people and stuff like that. But people would get so fucking toxic, they would actually make a character to try to get you reported or banned because you're in the middle of Stormwind ganking people. And they would do it to us too. Like I've been ganked plenty of times, but I've never been mad to the point that I created a character and essentially bitched to the developers to the point that they would fucking do something about it. The point is, I don't play League of Legends specifically because people are purposefully toxic and just cancerous to each other. And it's like, it might as well be called 4chan. Like, it might as well be called, that's the thing is that, and, 4chan exists for a reason, and that's fine. And that's where those people can hang out. That stuff shouldn't be bleeding into the gaming community and making it worse for people that just want to have fun playing games. If you want to be if you want to 4chan and be 4chaner, fucking go nuts, man. I don't give a shit what you do.
I have a little story about 4chan. It was, for me, a positive experience. Both Josh and I experienced it at the same time.
Okay. I'm actually
a positive
intrigued.
Experience of griefing or trolling.
Okay.
Which adds to the
BMing.
toxicity. So this is relevant. This is relevant. So there's a game called Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
Josh and I like that game for the multiplayer
Mm-hmm.
because the multiplayer is just chaotic fun. People whirling around with lightsabers and force powers. It is so much fun. I recommend it highly because the physics in it are just ridiculous. There was one day that we were playing. It was like around I don't know, almost 12 o'clock at night, 12 p.m. And we were in this game, and all of a sudden, like a bunch of people, they were leaving. They were leaving the game because there wasn't a lot of people in the lobby, and it ended up just being me and Josh. Um, it was a free for all, but it ended up just being me and Josh against each other for a bit, and then all of a sudden we saw some guy hop in as Lando Calrissian. I was like, "That's awesome! We got another person," and another person came in as Lando Calrissian, and then another Lando, and another Lando, and it turned out that 4chan had rated. We're going around rating servers and just being Lando Calrissian, and it was all Lando Calrissians versus Josh and I, and it was some of the most fun I've ever had in my life of trying to dodge like over a dozen Landos and trying to take them out at the same time and stuff. We had so much fun
But they weren't
doing
they
that.
weren't like typing shit to you guys and saying like
No.
kill yourself and be like that. That's fine. That's fucking hilarious and that's great. I have
Yeah,
a problem when
it
your
was
own
great.
teammate or the community that you're like, hey, look at this thing, I did something cool, I thought, or here, I need help with this, and instead of the community going like, yeah, no, that's good, pat on the back, or yeah, I'll absolutely help you out, no problem, here's my advice, this is what I did, and stuff like that, like, a discussion, instead of it becoming a discussion, it becomes this just terrible experience of people saying you're doing it wrong, get better, stop doing it that way, and just dumb fucking ways of how to like they're socially inept, and because of that they lash out and make people feel like they're lesser than them or something. I don't know. But if you want to kill a game, if you really enjoy a specific game, if you like playing HOTS, if you like playing League of Legends, if you like playing all these different types of games, don't kill the community by being toxic. That's how you destroy the game. I don't know how League of Legends lives. I guess because the game is so addicting that it can live off of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, a game like Hunt Showdown, where it's in early access, this is imperative time for it. It's a slow-paced game, so it's
It's
very
gonna
easy
die
to
from the community.
exact. It could potentially die because the community is all about those fucking Call of Duty codfish bros that are like, my kill death spread's the most important thing ever, and I need to jerk my buddy off. And yeah, no,
But
that's
those
not.
people
I
though,
wish, right? I wish my buddy would jerk me off.
I know, right?
those are
Yeah,
my kill death
seriously.
spread. What do you mean? People that play
Where's a
FPSs,
friend like that when you need him?
whenever you have a game where it's an FPS and has a kill death thing, that just happens.
I know.
People want that bragging right.
And that's the thing. It's like I've prestige 7 times, and because of that, I know better than you. And it's like, sure, maybe you have more experience. I'll absolutely listen to your advice, but don't make that advice come out as if you're the fucking the most arrogant god that's ever walked on the face of Hunt Showdown's planet. Like,
Let's roll back one day. So me and Will have decided Vermintide 2 today. We were both level ones. We went into a
oh
match.
yeah, there you go. Perfect.
These two these two random guys joined us.
Level 2.
They ran ahead,
They were level 2.
got killed. Yes, that's right. Sorry, we were level 1. They were level 2.
So they were
So they made they won more match
exponentially-
than we did.
exponentially better.
Yes. So they ran off by themselves. I got killed. They got downed, and then proceeded to rag on Will because Will wasn't charging to go find them because he would have died.
So here's how it went for me. That's a pretty good summary. So it was a nice, beautiful day. Sun was out. We were in fields of wheat. It was very beautiful, golden wheat.
I couldn't see
fields.
what the thing.
We made our way through, decapitating, dismembering any rats and decaying human bodies that we
Skaven.
saw that were animated. So we come upon this quaint little farmhouse next to like a windmill.
It was
I
beautiful.
so I'm outside looking for any healing items or any sort of items that might help us. I'm watching the Bright Witch so that she doesn't get just utterly destroyed from getting into melee. Meanwhile, Patrick and the Wayfarer, the elf character, they went into the house and they were
Korean.
clearing out the house, making a way for us to just walk right through easy enough. Well, when they had opened the, I'd like to say the front door of the house, there was a heavily armored Chaos Knight there waiting to stomp their shit in, which he
Proceeded
Then
to
Stop
do.
my
did.
shit in.
he stomped their shit in. I was hearing the chaos from outside the house, so I ran in and I was shooting with my dualies, my dual pistols, trying to take some heat off of them so they could either get out or push their way through. The Bright Wizard went in further into the fray, which he shouldn't have been doing, and all three of them got their shit stomped in, because that's how the game starts out for Vermintide 2. You just get your shit stomped in until you get a couple good items, and then you can progress a little further. Well, I did what I have done in Vermintide many, many times when my teams just get rocked. I try to survive as best I can, and hopefully they pop up near me or close by me so I can make my way to them. Well, I was doing that, and I was doing pretty well, in my opinion. I was fighting off the horde waves that were
How dare
coming
you?
in. They were on the other side of this wall, so all I had to do was clear out the number of enemies there and make my way around the wall and get them. While I'm doing this, within like, I don't know, the first 20 seconds of doing this, I was yelled at to go and pick them the fuck up. And I didn't have
Sprint.
time to type back and be like, I'm a little busy right now, if you can tell. And the other person chimed in, go and pick us up. We're right there. Just run to us and pick us up. Now, a feature of this game mechanic is that it's like Left 4 Dead. It's very similar to it in the way it plays out. Team of 4, they fight special enemies that come from time to time and fight just cannon fodder. What happens in Left 4 Dead and this game is that if you get hit, you are slowed. You lose like 90% of your movement speed. You're basically just stopped dead in your tracks. So as I'm fighting and trying to work my way past them, I'm getting hit. So it just slows me down. So they're basically just
You
slowing
know
me
what you're
down as I'm
talking about. You're not.
Yeah. And then one of them in all caps typed idiot. And then
Right.
because I was distracted by what they're typing and shit and not really focusing on what I'm doing, I get knocked down and we go back to the keep. That's all I got from them. I didn't get any other direct messages from them telling me I'm a fucking idiot or anything like that. No further stuff. But these level 2s who obviously haven't played the first game are getting on the second game, probably because they saw a streamer that they really like playing it and they're having so much fun with their friends. They think that they can just yell at people. They're level 2. They haven't gotten any further in the game.
And that's the thing that's wrong too, is that you have this situation where you could have succeeded as a group if they just trusted you instead of barking out commands and assuming that you're pants on head and don't understand shit.
My problem is it's the game. So
I don't
All
think
right.
so. I think it's just that
Monster
specific
Hunter-
person.
well, it's the community that follows it. So Monster Hunter is a different game. So I am not good at Monster Hunter. I am terrible at Monster Hunter.
You're fine.
I'm better now than when we first started. I was pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But
wow,
I did
really? Go figure. You're bad at a game you just
I
started
was
playing?
awful with the dual blades. I was so
Get out, noob!
So I never got a single
Get good.
negative
scrub.
comment playing.
Kill your mother.
So when I wasn't playing with Will, I always played with. Once we figured out how to like play with other people, I always play with other people. I didn't get a single negative comment, and there were times I got the entire group killed making a mistake, and I didn't get a single negative comment.
So I
So-
think that game also is very
yeah, dual blade hero right here.
yeah, I think that community is a little different than a lot of other communities. I mean, Monster Hunter community. What do you got? What do you got?
Here's the thing about Monster Hunter. We're playing it on a console because it's only out on consoles right
Yep.
now. We're playing it on PS4. There's no way to type while you're in there. And if you take the time to type, you're probably going to get targeted by the monster and fucking
That's true.
killed. And then that ruins it for the entire team because
Yeah.
that could fail the mission. That game does not dick around with communication between the players because you will eventually learn what you're doing
Mhm.
within the first couple of hunts that you have to do. Everybody understands the role that they play with the weapons that they choose and the armor sets that they have on. They know what they're doing. So the community there automatically trusts each other to know what they're doing because you're pretty much focused on the same goal. And there is no instant communication. What I see happening when it goes to PC is that if there is a chat function where you just hit fucking enter or T and you can say shit to each other, the level of negativity is going to skyrocket with that game. It's
Yeah.
going to skyrocket. I do not hate people for getting knocked out or fainting or whatever. I've been one shot out of the blue by monsters. I've fucked up. I've made the same mistakes that everybody else. Everybody understands that because they don't talk to each other. So there's no.
Mhm.
I think when there's little to no communication between the players, everything goes fine. Everything runs smoothly. The community is looked at as a lot more positive because there's little to no communication with each other. If these people could actually speak to each other or type to each other directly, it would be a clusterfuck of negativity and hate. And the other thing is that the Monster Hunter games for a very long time were Nintendo console specific.
Yeah.
So they were
It
very
was only
popular over in
Yeah,
Japan,
as I say, it's mostly in
which
Japan.
Yeah.
Japanese people, as far as I'm told, and I've had experiences
Interactions.
with them, they're very polite. They don't shit talk people,
Mhm.
but that could be different over there. But now it's worldwide, and I guarantee that if that chat function is on
Welcome to
PC, there's going to be
America.
so much shit. It's not America. It's
Well, I mean,
Europe. It's South America.
It's
It's the rest of Asia, the
yeah,
greater
I
part of
mean,
Asia and stuff.
absolutely, but
But the game
America's pretty bad.
hasn't been as successful as ever as it has been with this game because they stopped just landlocking it to Japan because of Nintendo, and they brought it over to the rest of the fucking world.
Well, I played with a lot of people that have customized their chat things. So like when people falls down, like they've customized it. I haven't really run into anyone that had any negative. Like you can customize when someone in your party faints, you can have it like kind of do a custom like thing pops up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone I've run into, I haven't had any negative. I mean, most of them were like, all right, you could do. This one guy had like, try it again, you'll be fine. As like his thing. So if you fainted, that's what he had.
Get back up. You'll
Yeah.
do it. I
do
believe
it.
in you.
So, but I
You
mean,
get
I think
knocked
you're right.
down.
Once to do it to chat in the game right now, you have to hold down the touchpad for it to pop up, and then you could type while doing it. So yeah, I think when it goes to PC, it's gonna go to fucking. It's gonna go to chaos.
I think there's always going to be. Listen, I agree that it's partially the game. The game, builds up this anticipation and this frustration, and then when something happens, it's easy to blame someone that was down first, and people are going to do that because they don't know how to deal with their emotions in a situation like that, so they lash out. I also think that it's just those people specifically that have problems with dealing with stuff like that, anger issues, socially inept, or whatever, and because they're not.
anger issues.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I struggle with anger issues all the time, but I also check myself most of the time. Like I don't. There's times where
Most of the time.
yeah, and I'm not saying that everyone that does this is like I don't do this and I'm perfect. No, I do this absolutely, and I think I'm wrong for doing it, and I want to change that. There are times that I've freaked the fuck out, but for the most part, I start off polite, and if someone is just kind of absolutely being ignorant and ignoring and BMing, then the gloves are off. But I shouldn't be doing that. The game shouldn't allow me to do that. And, when it comes to outside of the game, there should be absolutely no reason for that toxicity to stay true to you. Like I guess you lost that game. That game was so important to you that it you held that grudge so long that you actually went over to forums and Reddit and you actually lashed out with that anger from that specific game to different people that had nothing to do with it. Like why? Why why are you doing that? Why are you lashing out at people that you don't even know and could potentially be a serial killer that knows everything about you and your family, and then you just disappear? Why would you do? Not saying or implying anything. I'm just saying that it's a possibility.
I'm saying I'm a serial killer.
I'm
It's,
not
it's
a
a
serial-
hypothetical. It's a very extreme hypothetical, but you
Of
never
course.
know,
Well,
right?
exactly. It's just, I mean, they don't
You
have
could
to
be
be a
yelling at your
serial
next
killer.
door neighbor's son.
Yeah, exactly. You could be yelling at someone that has, that is struggling with things, socially and stuff like that. And this was their last string of hope of dealing with, some kind of communication to the outside world. And then this person that they essentially communicated with just pretty much convinced them to end it all because there's no hope for humanity. And it's just you got to kind of look at it as that sure, there's anonymity involved. Your screen name and your fucking whatever name you come up with might not be able to link back to you and stuff like that, and that's why people do this. But at the same time, you should treat everyone as good as you possibly could because it's you can, because there's no reason otherwise. Be a bro, don't be a bro. Don't be a douchebag to other people. I don't get it. I don't understand it. So that's just I just think that toxicity in communities destroy games, destroy the community, and it doesn't really help with anything.
Nope.
It just doesn't help with
No
anything.
one gets
What
better
does
because of it.
What does it do?
To be honest, the thing that lost us that level that we got wrecked on was the fucking farmhouse. So I'm more pissed about the farmhouse
Than anything else.
because if it weren't for the farmhouse, we wouldn't have got stuck in its narrow, hallways and just been fucked from that point going forward. If it was just open and we could have just gone down a pathway, we probably would have been okay. But that farmhouse fucked us up by putting us in an area where they all just flooded in, and that's when you get destroyed. Yeah, that's just when you get destroyed, especially with the heavily armored Chaos Knight right from the get-go, with new, fresh players in it with no items or anything to increase their damage
I got
potential.
one block. You're fucked.
Yeah, you're just
You're
screwed.
fucked.
All right.
So it was the game working the way that they designed it to, and it worked perfectly. It destroyed us, and
Yep.
it was because of the
It
bot
was a
app.
skill check. It was the
Yeah.
first check of you think this is gonna be easy? Boom, sit back down. It's not gonna be
No.
easy. Get ready
Yeah,
to
yeah.
train.
Sit down, little girl. So I'll show you
Yep.
what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I agree with you. I think toxicity in gaming will destroy games, and the community themselves are more or as important, if not more important, than the game itself to make it last longer than launch.
without
Which
the
is why
community,
I think Hunt Showdown won't last because the community is already toxic.
it's getting
Because
to that point. There's
yeah,
it's
because the people that are there were in PUBG, which is toxic, and now are coming here as a different thing to do, and they just bring the toxicity with them.
yeah, yeah. I
Mm.
agree. Will, final thoughts?
Yeah, it's tough to try and figure out what you can do about it. I think punishments
Be
need to
good.
be more severe. I was watching a stream, and somebody was, I think it was a hot stream that I usually watch, of a guy called Spec Plays, and he's a guy that plays over in Europe because he lives in Ireland, but he's originally from Canada. I just like his, like anybody that likes to stream, is just for their personality and whatnot, and sense of humor. But in his chat, I saw somebody, because he was talking about toxic players and what can be done about them, and that the
Right.
reporting system that most developers have in place don't do a damn thing. It doesn't actually help the problem. It worsens it, and
Perpetuates
everybody
it. Yep.
suffers from it. So there was one person in his chat that said, "Oh yeah, my friend got silenced for 2 years." And that was in HOTS. He got a silence that's going to last for 2 years, apparently, if that's accurate. If it gets to the point where you're going to punish someone with like even it's something that's even like a month ban or whatever, just permanently ban their account or their IP entirely.
Yeah.
Sorry, you
Like
can't talk for 2 years.
they are so on the ball when it comes to cheaters and hackers and like all these battle royale games and Overwatch and the shooter stuff. They do mass bannings of those people. But people that are toxic in chat, sending hate-filled direct messages and like death threats and shit like that, they just give them a silence for like a day or two,
Yeah.
and then they're right back there doing the same thing. They don't permanently ban them. They don't permanently ban their IP.
There needs to be some kind of repercussion.
It's just insane. And I don't think you should allow IPs to have multiple accounts. I think it should just be one account per IP
Hmm?
address, so that they can't just buy a new account and start all over again.
Yeah.
Because that's what most people do. Because it's just
And
easier to do
and
that.
chat brought up a good point. Fortnite. So someone asked, is Fortnite toxic? And someone responded with more trollish. And I agree, it's more trolly and like that. But trolling and being toxic are two different things. Being trolly, that's fine. No, being trolly is fine. If you're going in and being sarcastic and just poking fun at people, sure, some people can take it a little the wrong way and it can escalate, but usually the people that troll say, listen, I was just kidding, and everything gets resolved right there. People that go out of their way blatantly to just sit there and say, you need to get better, with no insight or no information or any kind of advice, but saying that I'm better than you. There's no way you would ever kill me like that because my kill death spread is better, and blah 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 blah. Or just telling people to go kill themselves because of
Yeah, but
whatever.
going in there and saying get good scrub is just as bad as, well, it's not just as bad as go kill yourself. My KD's awesome, but going in there going get good scrub is a waste of fucking time. That
Yeah,
helps
but that's
no
not
one.
that's not really a
It's,
trolly
it's
kind of response unless they say, it's like get good scrub kappa or get good
yeah,
scrub
but
slash s. That's
add whatever you want
sarcasm.
at the end of it. Your initial statement is get good scrub. Add whatever you want after that. Add a smiley face. Add a smiley face with a bunch of D's at the end of it
Sure,
because you think it looks funny.
it doesn't
It's not.
help, but
It doesn't do anything. Just
but
keep quiet.
it makes it more lighthearted, which is good. What I'm saying is that you shouldn't confuse the two because you don't
They're
want to
both bad
start.
for the communities. One's just not as bad.
Sure, I just don't think trolling. Because I'm a sarcastic person in real life, so when I say something sarcastic and someone takes it offensive, I back off and say I'm just kidding. But if they keep going with like, saying that what I do, that's completely different. Like, I think
It is
when
the
some
time and the place. If someone posts on there on Reddit like, "Hey, this is my build. Can you help me?" and you go back, "Get good scrub. Your build sucks dick." Kappa kappa. Yeah,
I mean,
you've done nothing.
that's a little more of the extreme trolling. That's getting into kind of like BMing, and to the point of being pretty much a toxic person.
If you screw with your friends, that's okay. But I think it goes back to your original point of why would you even be that way in the first place?
Right.
Why not just be a person that's just like, oh well, that's all right. Like this is probably what happened. Like you got hit with this move, and that kind of locked you down in CC, and then this person dove on you and just did massive damage. So
Hmm.
next time we go into it, stay by my side, and I'll try and mitigate any sort of CC. I'll try to block it for you so that you can do that. Like trolling them after something like that happens, it's to get a rise out of them and get them pissed off so that they start screaming and yelling and just ruin their fucking day. That's
Maybe,
that's that's
maybe
what
you're right.
trolling does. Like
So, I mean,
there's
I think of trolling kind of like, hey, I'm looking for a decent build for this. Like, I'm playing Carillion. What do you think? What talents? And then they're like, oh yeah, Carillion's good. You should do this one. And then you click it, and then you go and it leads to being Rick rolled. That's what I think of like a
Uh,
harmless troll kind of thing. I think obviously there's get good scrub, eat a bag of dicks, smiley face kappa kappa slash s. That's not really trolling. That's getting to the toxic part, and that's just being 4channy. And as much as you listen, it exists and that's fine, but that shouldn't bleed into other communities.
like
This isn't Hunt colon showdown 4chan. This is Hunt colon showdown. That's it.
4chan.
I think another thing, at least for me, what gets to me the most is that you have these communities of very hardcore players who are really into it, everything, the lore of the game, if there's lore
Hmm.
to it, the just every little mechanic, min-maxing and stuff like that, and they're unwilling to help new players, help introduce new players to everything about it, and help them to
Elitists.
understand it so that they can have as good a time as they are with it and really get involved with the community and stuff like that. They are a huge brick wall for new players to come into it. And a really good example of that is Destiny. I've never seen a hardcore community so adamant about keeping new players out because they feel that new players are going to ruin their experience they've already played 1,000 hours
They play
of,
Destiny. They've already
because they
ruined the
brag with
experience.
their time dick. They slap their time dick
Slash
on
time slash
their
play.
their computer screen so that everyone can see how big their time dick is, and then they refuse to help players that are just getting into it because their time dick is just too big. It drags on the floor and it hurts, so they can't go around and help them because their time dick is too big.
You know how when people like hurt their foot, they got the chair, they got the like
Yeah.
the foot like wheelchair.
Yeah.
They have that for their penis. They carry around the
Yeah.
time dick. It's
My
so-
time dick is too big. I don't have time to help you. I need to make my time
What's up,
dick
Lampard?
bigger.
Yeah,
I gotta wheel that thing around.
That
Gotta put a
that's
wheelbarrow.
and I think that I would categorize that towards toxicity,
Oh, yeah,
because
that's what it is.
that you're not helping the community, you're a detriment to it because you're too good at this game. You can't help other people. What That doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's not even them being good. They've just played it for so
So
long.
yeah, okay. So they've put so much time into it that anyone time tick, by the way. They've played this so long that by helping other people out, it's not going to benefit them at all, because what arbitrary, like that means nothing. And
It's I don't know. I just don't understand it. I can't understand having this game that you love so much, and then when new players come into it, you see that as a negative thing, that there's growth for the game, whereas you might get
Right.
another friend to play the fucking game with
It
and
doesn't
go on raids with
fucking
and stuff like that. It is on your shoulders to take those new players through everything, show them everything the game has to offer to get them hooked and be like, listen, if I can help you, just do you want to join my clan, just send me a friend invite or whatever. I'll go through the game with you. I'll teach you the ropes, and then whatever, we can do the raids together, we can do PvP together. I'll definitely do it. You need to be that open and welcoming to new players, because then if the game's dying and you start doing that, you may actually reverse the game from dying, grow the community,
Right.
and then it
And
grows
then
even bigger than it was before.
the game gets better because
Yeah.
like the having a really good Guild of Wars 2. Not Guild of Wars, Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars, I believe, has a really good community. And because of that, it made me enjoy the game more. And it makes me respect the developers, because the developers are able to focus on the things that they need to focus on. They don't have to worry about permabanning people because they're telling people to kill themselves and that they wish that their mom was put in a blender and fed to their children. That's not a good thing to have in any game, whether it's League of Legends or fucking Resident Evil or whatever. Like, it just
Street
doesn't
Fighter 5.
it just doesn't help anything. And then when
Like,
someone goes to the forums or to Reddit requesting help or posting something just about the game, showing their appreciation about the game, there's no what benefit is there to sit there and tear into that person or just be a complete and utter Neanderthal? There's nothing. You get nothing out of it. And neither does the community, neither does the developers, and neither does the player. And then for me, it was a negative experience because I go, oh shit, this community is becoming toxic. Fuck that. Like,
Yeah, and like if you look at Overwatch and what they're trying to do with combating toxicity in their game community, is that they're introducing positive reinforcement for being nice to people while you're in the game. So they're manipulating their player base to be nice on the grounds that they're going to be rewarded for it, which in my
it's a,
mind is the worst way
yeah,
to go
it's a
about it. You shouldn't
it's like a
you shouldn't
negative
reinforce
positive. Yeah,
faking kindness.
right.
You shouldn't reward somebody for being fake and just doing it because they're going to get something. That's like giving a dog a treat because they stop tearing up the carpet. You don't give them a treat because they stop tearing up the carpet. You have to punish them for doing that so they know not to tear up the carpet again. If you reinforce that negative action with a positive reward, they're going to just keep fucking doing it because you're telling them, if you keep doing this, you'll get to eat more because you're
Yeah.
a fat ass piece of shit.
You know, Grand Theft Auto Online
I was
actually
just
has if
gonna
you don't
bring
kill
that-
a player for a while, you get good behavior.
For good behavior, you get like
Yes, they
500.
reinforce you in a game where you're meant to kill everybody.
Yes.
Yep, positive reinforcement.
Confusing? Maybe a little bit confusing.
Yes.
So
So
just like
I
don't do that.
I
If
just
that's your response, fuck off.
if there's one thing that I just don't appreciate is just people just not being helpful to the community and just being completely douchey for no apparent reason just because something happened that day and they had to lash out or because they think they're that much better that their opinion has to be heard regardless of how negative it is. No idea why. They have to voice their opinion. And listen, I haven't done it on Reddit. Like when that guy responded, I was just like, I'm not getting into this. Like obviously you weren't hugged today, and there's a problem that you're having, and you're just lashing out at us or lashing out at me rather, and that's on you. I'm not gonna sit here and fucking deal with that. And then his response was like, "Oh, but you have time to crouch in bushes." And it's like, what? Like,
Of course I do, because that's something I want to do. I don't want to be your daddy and hug you.
Like,
That's basically what you told him. I don't want to be your daddy and hug you.
like I'm not going to give you the attention you're looking for because that's apparently what you're looking for. And that's the problem, is that you have these people that are just on these forums voicing their opinions that are just nothing but negativity because they have a shitty life or something. And by doing that, they're not helping at all, not helping the player, not helping the community, not helping the developers, and they're just becoming a cancerous tumor that needs to be, removed. So
So toxicity in gaming communities.
yeah, well,
Yes,
they
that's
can go fuck itself.
That's it.
If you have anything negative to say to a player, say it to the toxicity of the community. Don't say it to a player or to a person. Just say,
Jesus
what?
Christ, look at this horse. You beat it so badly it doesn't look like a horse anymore. You beat this horse to death so badly it's not a horse.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just
I,
a blob of
I get
flesh on the
what I'm trying to hopefully do is have people stop typing their fucking, just stop vomiting